أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وصحابته المنتجبين. قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس من الجنة والناس. صدق الله العلي العظيم. OCD is a very widespread psychological disorder. Many people suffer from this illness. Many athletes, many leaders, many politicians, many men, many women, many children, a lot of youth, they suffer from this illness. What is OCD? OCD is the obsessive compulsive disorder. It's when you have some sort of abnormal obsession. It's an obsession with something. It could be cleaning the house. The house has to be spotless. It could be washing your hands every couple of minutes. You can't stand, your hand being dirty. Every 2 minutes, every 5 minutes, you wash your hands. It could be, maybe avoiding cracks on the sidewalk. When you're walking on the sidewalk, you avoid cracks. It could be something about using the bathroom, your bed being in a certain way. There's a lot of obsessions that people might have. Of course, it doesn't mean that you're crazy. If you have OCD, it does not mean that you're crazy. And that's what a lot of people think, that if you have OCD, if you are if you have the obsessive compulsive disorder, that means you're insane, you're crazy. No, it doesn't mean you're insane. Because a great majority of sane professionals that live their ordinary lives, they could be very successful, very wealthy, very powerful, yet they still have OCD. OCD is an obsession with a certain practice, maybe. There are some that are obsessed with checking on the door at night. They get up several times to make sure that the door is locked. Others, they get up to make sure that the microwave is off. It could be a practice, it could be an act, it could be a thought, an obsessive thought that you repeatedly have. It could be about death. You obsessively overthink about death, that you're dying, or a family member is going to die. Maybe you over-obsess over maybe a lost spouse. Your ex-wife is going to come back. You're obsessed with that. You think that she will return to you. So on and so forth. Whatever it is, the behavior or the thought, OCD is something that is you're unable to control. You're unable to control these thoughts, this behavior. Of course, you can control, but it's very difficult to control. Sometimes it seems like it's impossible to control this behavior and thoughts. It affects your life negatively. OCD begins to affect your life negatively. It takes a toll on you. It begins to drain you. Sometimes, the behavior doesn't make sense. You do it so many times that it doesn't make sense. That's how you know that you have OCD. When there's a behavior that you have to perform repeatedly and it doesn't make sense to people. Why do you have to wash your hands every 5 minutes? An ordinary person washes his hand maybe once every an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. If they get dirty, if they touch dust, if it gets dirty, they wash their hands. But if your hands are perfectly normal and you feel the need to go and wash them every 2 minutes or 5 minutes, that's called OCD. It's abnormal behavior. Behavior that doesn't make sense. Sometimes you're wasting resources because of OCD. You waste money, you waste water, you waste resources. It affects your life negatively, and sometimes OCD affects the lives of others. Your parents, your spouse, your children. They're all affected negatively because of your behavior. Allah Azza wa Jal has created human beings to achieve, to produce, to contribute, to be active members of society. But what OCD does is that sometimes it paralyzes a person. A person wants to achieve, but because of his OCD, can't. He's paralyzed or she's paralyzed. Not physically paralyzed, but psychologically paralyzed. They can't achieve. That OCD is an obstacle. It's not letting them achieve and contribute. And it makes life very difficult. And as OCD is as we said, it's a common psychological disorder that people have, and one group of people that also have OCD, and it's very quite common, are Muslims. A lot of Muslims do have OCD, maybe more than others, as we shall see. Thus, this topic has to be addressed. There is no shame in it. If you have OCD, it does not mean you're crazy. It does not mean that you're insane. However, it needs to be discussed and it needs treatment. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The types of OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, that is usually among Muslims are the following. Number one, OCD in thoughts, repeated thoughts, and issues dealing with faith. There's some people, they repeatedly have doubts and questions. Does God really exist? What if these scholars are just fooling us? What if our parents have fooled us? What if God doesn't exist? There's some people, they're Muslims. They have faith, they're religious, they pray, they fast. But these thoughts come into their head. What if, who said Rasulullah actually existed? What if it turns out that he never even existed? What if it turns out that Imam Ali alayhi salam never even existed? But it's stories that we heard from our local sheikh or sayyid or religious scholar or the visiting scholar that told the stories about Imam Ali. What if he never existed? There's some people that have these thoughts. They're religious, they recite Quran, they come to the mosque, but once in a while, once in a blue moon, they get these thoughts. That what if God doesn't really exist? And they have the proof, and they have the evidence. They know that God exists. They know that we didn't come out into this world by coincidence, as we talked about a couple of nights ago. That everything makes sense. Some people have doubts. What if it's this life and that's it? What if I live this life And when we die and they put us in our graves, this is it. There's no other life. There's no heaven. There's no hell. There's no day of judgment. This is all fake. We were only told that there's heaven and hell by our parents to get us, to do good things or to stop us from doing bad things. When my mom wants me to take out the trash and I don't, she begins threatening me with hellfire. What if it was just threats, just stories, fake stories? Some people have those ideas. They try to drive those ideas away, those thoughts away. They know that this life is not over. They know that this life is not the end, but there's another life. And that's part of Allah's justice. This life can't be the end. That there's another life waiting for us. Because God exists. And God is just. And if God is just, He has to punish some people in life. Some people that had it good in this life, and they lived like tyrants and dictators, and they killed, and then they died a regular death. There's no punishment for them? You're telling me that they lived a good life, and that's it? And a poor person lives a bad life here, and there's no reward? Well, where's the justice of God? Thus, if you believe in a creator, and you believe that God exists, and you believe that God is just, you have to believe that there's another life. That there's another life waiting for us. This life is not the end. So you have the answers, but you still doubt. You still, what if? What if God didn't exist? What if the Prophet didn't exist? What if there's no day of judgment? What if there's no heaven? What if there's no hell? What if this Quran was man-made? What if some humans got together and they wrote the Quran and it's not by God? These are a lot of questions. This is part of OCD. Those who have obsessive compulsive disorder, they begin to have these thoughts. Before they sleep, when they put their head to rest, they sleep. All of a sudden, they're drowned, they're bombarded with these thoughts, with these ideas. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. You see, sometimes you really have doubts. You really have questions. That's not OCD. That's not OCD. If you really have doubts about God's existence, about the reality of another life, life after death, if you really have questions, this is not OCD. This is not obsessive compulsive disorder. You really have questions. And you have to do your research. You really have to sit down, read, research, Google, listen to lectures, talk to elders, talk to people that have knowledge, that are smart, that are intelligent, and do your research. I'm not talking about people that have genuine questions. There's some people that have genuine questions, that have genuine doubts. No, I'm talking about people that are faithful, that have faith, that have iman, that pray, that fast, that believe in the Quran, that they believe in the Prophet and the Imams, but once in a while they have doubts. What if? What if Christians were on the right path and we're on the wrong path? What if Sunni Muslims are on the right path and we're on the wrong path? Some people, they might have doubts. This is called obsessive compulsive disorder, and then they begin to panic. Oh my God, I have doubts. I just doubted God's existence. For a second there, I thought that God doesn't exist. Am I a kafir? Am I a non-believer now? Am I going to hell? What should I do? Should I tell my parents? What should I do? This is all from OCD. We will answer what you should do. We'll answer that in a couple of minutes. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. This is one kind of OCD that some Muslims have. Another kind of OCD, it's not so much about faith and belief. It's more about rituals. Rituals. Purity, impurity. There's some people with OCD, they consider everything najis. The bathroom, it's one pile of najasa. The kitchen is najis. Anything that is wet is najis. They go to someone's home, if the carpet is a bit wet, that must be najis. The kitchen, the counters, it's all najis. If a child drank from a cup, that's najis. Everything becomes najis. And these people, they have an urge to want to wash everything. They wash the kitchen a couple of times a day. They wash the bathroom and the toilet several times a day. If the carpet is wet, they take out the carpet, they wash it, they bring it back. This is called OCD. This is obsessive compulsive disorder. And in Arabic, it has a name. In Islam, there's a terminology for it. You know what it's called? Waswas. This is called waswas. In English, we call it OCD. In Arabic, we call it waswas. Those that think everything is najis. This is one kind of people. Another, when it comes to rituals, their wudu is supposed to take 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Their wudu, it takes 15 minutes. They wash every single part of their face. They look in the mirror. They make sure that every part of their skin is wet. They obsess over it. Their ghusl. You know how long their ghusl takes? Just look at their water bill. Look at their water bill and you'll realize how long their ghusl takes. A ghusl is supposed to take no more than 10 minutes. 10 minutes is a lot. 10 minutes is a lot. Ghusl is getting water to your entire body. It doesn't mean going swimming. It doesn't mean standing under a waterfall. Get water to your body and that's it. Some people, their ghusl takes an hour. An hour. That is called waswas. That is called OCD. They want to make sure that that water reaches their entire body. That's good. Let water reach your entire body, but don't obsess. Don't obsess over it. A normal shower, a normal ghusl should take 5 minutes to 10 minutes. If you're taking longer than that, that is OCD. That is waswas. One day, one of the imams, I believe it was Imam al-Baqir, he came out of the shower. Previously they didn't have showers at home. They had public showers. People went to public showers and they showered. Men had their own section, women had their own section. They didn't have showers at home. We're living at an age, we're blessed. We're blessed to have showers and bathrooms at home. Previously, ask your grandparents. They didn't have showers at home. They would have to go to public showers. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam came out of the shower. It was a public shower. And he had performed ghusl. And he was about to leave. Someone told him, Ya ibn Rasulullah, there's a dry mark, there's a dry spot on your back. Meaning you missed a spot in your ghusl. He told him, you didn't have to tell me. That's fine, I will go and he didn't repeat his ghusl. He grabbed some water, he wiped his back, that's it. Imagine if we were told we would have to go and repeat that ghusl 3 more times. He grabbed some water and he wiped it on his back and he said, that's it. And you don't need to tell me. You didn't have to tell me that there was a dry mark on my back. You see, imams, they didn't obsess. But we obsess over wudu, over ghusl. I've seen some people, when they perform wudu, they move the hair, they start combing to make sure that the water reaches the scalp. No. It's not that bad. When it comes to salah, there are some people that have waswas in salah. Am I in the first rak'ah or am I in the second rak'ah? Am I in the second or am I in the third? Is this the third or the fourth? Is this the fourth or the fifth? As soon as they go into salah, they begin to doubt. Which rak'ah am I in? This is waswas. Did I recite Surah Al-Fatiha or no? Did I perform ruku' or no? How many sujood did I perform? 1 or 3? This is waswas. And some people, what they do is they begin over, they start their salah and they pray again. And then they doubt again, so they pray a 3rd time and a 4th time. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Hossein Al Qazwini, in one of his books, in the book of Tahara, on rituals, the acts of rituals, when he discusses the laws of wudu and ghusl, he talks about waswas. And he says that there's some people that have so much waswas that they perform their ghusl and wudu over and over again. He says that I knew a person, Sayyid Al Qazwini, says that I knew a person, he wouldn't perform wudu at home. He would go to a river to make sure that the water is pure, it's clean, it's not najis, it doesn't have chlorine in it, nothing. He goes to a river and he would perform his wudu until the sun sets and he misses salah. And he misses salah. There's some people, they do that. That's ridiculous. This is OCD. This is obsessive compulsive disorder. Islam does not want that from you. Islam does not say repeat your salah 5 times each. Imagine, there's 5 prayers a day and you want to repeat each salah 5 times? That means you should not go to work and you should not go to school. Just pray all day long. Be like that person that Imam Sadiq told about, so I had a Christian neighbor. Islam doesn't want that. As for Hajj, for those who have obsessive compulsive disorder, Hajj is a catastrophe. Because imagine, in every tawaf, they doubt. I don't know, which circle is this? Is this the 5th or the 6th? Is this the 1st or the 3rd? So they do it over. In sa'i, they have to do it over. In stoning, did I stone 7 times or 8 times? Did it mark? Did I hit the mark or did I not hit the mark? Do I still have wudu or did I fall asleep in the bus? Those that have obsessive compulsive disorder and they go to Hajj, Hajj is a living nightmare. It's a nightmare. And I remember a couple of years ago, I went to Hajj with someone with OCD. All of his acts, his tawaf, his sa'i, his wudu, he repeated it at least 3 times. Every act. Every act. And I remember he remained in his ihram. You know, you remain in your ihram for 2 days and that's it. He remained in his ihram for maybe a week. An entire week. This is ridiculous. Islam does not want this. Islam says perform your wudu and go. Wudu should not take more than a minute. A minute. A minute. I see some people, they perform their wudu for 15 minutes. They go into their fingers, under the fingernails, and their eyelashes. This is not what Islam wants. You see, my dear friends, those who have OCD, those who have waswas, they don't get to enjoy their worship. Even though worship is meant to be enjoyed, your salah is meant to be enjoyed. Your wudu is meant to be enjoyed. Reciting Quran is meant to be enjoyed. Hajj, you spend all that money to go to Hajj. Don't you want to enjoy it? There's some people, they don't enjoy it. Because they spend their entire Hajj performing waswas, obsessing. Did I do my tawaf correctly? My sa'i? Did I look back? Did I have wudu? And what? You spend all that money to destroy yourself. Worship is meant to be enjoyed. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. When it was time of adhan, he would tell Bilal, Ya Bilal, arahna ya Bilal. Oh Bilal, bring us peace. The sound of adhan is peace. Because you're about to stand up and pray. Peace. It brings you peace. It makes you feel good. Those that have OCD, they don't enjoy their salah. They don't enjoy their salah. They do it so many times that it's not enjoyable anymore. Salah. It's meant to be enjoyed. Someone once asked me, why do you pray? I tell them, you know why I pray? Because I enjoy it. Not because I have to. I enjoy it. It's like your iPhone. If you keep it without being recharged, after a couple of hours you use it and it dies. Once every couple of hours you have to plug it in. You have to recharge your iPhone. Salah for us, it recharges us. Once every couple of hours we have to be recharged. Otherwise, we don't physically die, but we spiritually die. Salah is meant to be enjoyed. But when you obsess over wudu, over ghusl, over rituals, over tahara, over najasa, you overdo it. And you don't enjoy it. There are some people that have OCD, not in matters of faith and not in rituals, but in social relations. In social relations. They obsess. They think that everyone is jealous of them. Everyone is envious of them. This person's envious, that person's jealous. The world revolves around them and everyone is envious. Everyone's jealous. Everyone is trying to make them fail. They're very careful. They don't trust anyone. No one in the community, no one in the family. They're afraid to share their secrets. They're afraid to say what their plans are. Everything is on low key. They don't say where they go, what they do on the weekends, what their business is, because everyone's jealous. Everyone's envious. Where did they go with their, family on the weekend? They don't tell anyone because everyone's jealous. It's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. No one is out there to make you fail. You know who will make you fail? Yourself. We are the cause of our failure sometimes, not others. Not others. There's some people that always are suspicious of others. Always suspicious. And a lot of times, there's a special relationship where there's always suspicion. For example, the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law relationship. A lot of times there's suspicion. In the in-laws, my son-in-law, my daughter-in-law, there's suspicion. In family relations, sometimes between spouses, a husband and wife. A husband is always suspicious of his wife. He checks on her phone calls, where does she go, who does she speak with. This is OCD. This is OCD. Or the wife, she's overly suspicious of her husband. Who did he speak to? Who did he say salam to? Who did he look at? This is OCD. This is being obsessively compulsive. And the end result of a person like this will remain without friends. If you're suspicious of this person, that person, your neighbor, your mother, your father, your wife, your husband, you'll remain without friends. You'll remain a person that no one wants to speak to and no one wants to be friends with. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. What are the reasons for OCD? Where does OCD come from? Where does waswas come from? Well, one reason could be genetic. It could be genetic. It could run in the family. If you have one of your parents, an uncle, an aunt, a grandparent that has OCD, it could be genetic. So that could be one of the reasons. Another reason could be past events. Your childhood days. Maybe you had a traumatic childhood. Something happened. Maybe you got in a car accident. Now every time you get in the car, you obsess. You put on your safety belt. You have another extra safety belt. You lock the doors. You sit close to the wheel. You put a couple of mirrors, 3 are not enough. You obsess. Why? Because maybe you got in a car accident once. Past events. A kidnapping maybe. Now you lose trust in everyone. Maybe you were robbed at home. That's why you're obsessed over the locks. Have you seen some houses where there's 7 locks? They obsess because they were robbed once. Maybe Your house was set on fire once when you were a child, so you're afraid of fires. You turn everything off. You turn the microwave off. You turn the lights off. You obsess over fires. So past events, maybe it was a past event that gets you to obsess. And past events play a major role in our lives, my dear friends. They play a major role, especially childhood. Sometimes we don't know about it. We forget about it. This has to do with psychology. Sometimes there's repressed memory. There are some memories that we repress it. We don't want to think about it. We don't want to remember it. It's painful. It hurt. Whatever it was. Maybe it was a divorce in the family. Maybe you had an abusive parent. Your father abused you. Your mother maybe verbally abused you. You had an angry mother or father. You were bullied at school. There's some memories that we keep them repressed. We don't want to remember them. You don't remember them, but they have an effect on your life. You don't realize it. They have an effect on your behavior. How you behave now with friends at school, and you have to come and deal with this. You have to acknowledge. You can't repress these memories. You have to acknowledge that something went wrong. Right? One of the reasons behind OCD and waswas is shaitan. Shaitan is one of the reasons. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ مِنْ شَرِّ الْوَسْوَاسِ الْخَنَّاسِ الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ. Say, I seek refuge in Allah from the one that whispers in my heart and whispers in my ear. الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ. Shaitan comes to you. Shaitan has deceitful ways with all kinds of people. With all kinds of people. أَنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لِلْإِنسَانِ عَدُوًّا مُبِينًا. Shaitan is an apparent enemy to all humans. He declared war on all humans. Shaitan is a very dangerous enemy. Very dangerous enemy. You know why? Because he can see us and we can't see him. That's very dangerous. Imagine if you have an enemy that you can't see. You can't see. Isn't that dangerous? Shaitan is very dangerous. For some, he knows our weaknesses. For some, he comes and says, drink alcohol. And that person listens. He goes and he drinks alcohol. He says, go to a club. It's Friday night. It's Saturday night. Go to a club. That person listens. That person says, go gamble. And he listens. For others, some religious people, he knows they're not going to listen. No matter how many times he says drink, they will never listen. Commit adultery, they will not listen. Do this, do that, steal, kill, it will not. So he comes in a different way, in a deceitful way. How? He says you messed up your salah. He makes you doubt. Are you in the first rak'ah or are you in the second rak'ah? Are you in the second or are you in the third? In the middle of salah, he makes you doubt. Do you have wudu? Or you don't have wudu? Or maybe in the car you took a nap. You lost your wudu. He makes you come in doubt. Is this tahir? Is this najis? You see, shaitan comes like this. He deceives us like this. And he ruins our worship, especially worship. Why? Because shaitan did not prostrate to Allah. Shaitan did not prostrate to Allah. That's why we have a hadith that say that the worst act of worship to shaitan, the act of worship that really upsets shaitan is what? Sujood. Sujood. Because he failed in that test. In the test of sujood. He was ordered to perform sujood to Adam, but he didn't. He failed in that test. So he hates it when he sees believers performing sujood. He hates it when he sees believers praying. He wants to ruin that salah for them. How? He can't come and tell you don't pray because he knows you'll pray. He knows believers pray. So what he does is that he ruins it for you. He tells you repeat your salah again and again and again until you don't enjoy it, until you become fed up. Some people, because of OCD, they begin to hate salah. They say, you know what, enough is enough. I will no longer pray. If I have to repeat my salah 5 times, 10 times, I don't want to pray anymore. So this is shaitan. Shaitan is one of the reasons for OCD. Shaitan is one of the reasons for waswas. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Are there solutions for OCD and obsessive compulsive disorder? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's an illness. It's a psychological disorder. But it has a solution. It doesn't mean it doesn't have a solution. It is possible to treat, and you have to treat it. You see, with OCD, if you don't treat it early, it'll become worse and worse and worse. If you show signs of OCD and waswas, treat it early. Don't let it expand, because it's like cancer. Cancer, if it's detected early in stage 1, you can get rid of it. You can get rid of it. Stage 2, a bit harder, but you can get rid of it. Stage 3, hard, but it's still doable. But if it's stage 4 or 5, that's it. OCD also has stages. It has stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're in the early stages of OCD, you could get rid of it. You could get treated. But if you keep it untreatable, uncurable, if you do not cure it, if you do not treat it, it will become worse and worse and worse until you're paralyzed. Until your life is ruined. Until it paralyzes you. You cannot work. You cannot go out of the house. You cannot speak to people. You cannot pray. You cannot come to the mosque. And so on and so forth. It destroys you. So treat it first. The first step to treating OCD is to acknowledge that you have OCD. Some people don't acknowledge. Some people say, me? I have OCD? You're crazy. Get out of here. You have OCD. It's not a joke. No one is trying to insult you. The first step is to acknowledge that you have a disorder. And it doesn't mean you're crazy. Some people, as soon as you tell them OCD, it means they're insane. No. It doesn't mean you're insane. It doesn't mean you're crazy. First step, acknowledge that you're ill. Just like all other illnesses. If you don't acknowledge that you have cancer, will you go get cancer treatment? No. You'll say, why? Why should I get chemotherapy if I don't have cancer? First, acknowledge the illness. First, acknowledge the disorder. And then you could go about curing it. Some people are not willing to acknowledge it. They live in denial. I don't have OCD. I don't know what you're talking about. This is fun. I enjoy washing my hands every 2 minutes. I enjoy vacuuming the house 5 times a day. Well, if you enjoy it, then knock yourself out. But if you want a cure, come and listen to the cure. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Well, one cure is the medical cure. You go and you speak to a professional. You speak to a doctor, a psychiatrist, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Speaking to a psychiatrist about this disorder, about this psychological disorder, and you tell them that I have OCD. What is my treatment? Sometimes it's medicine, sometimes it's therapy, sometimes it's discussions. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. And a lot of people, they went and they got cured and they overcame this illness and they're living happy, functional lives. So the first step is to get medical help. The second step, if you don't want to get medical help, there's another kind of therapy. It's called behavioral therapy. Behavioral therapy says that whatever your obsession is, whatever it is it avoiding cracks on the sidewalk? Is it washing your hands every 2 minutes? Is it checking on the door at night, making sure the door is locked? Whatever it is, behavioral therapy says expose yourself. Expose yourself to that which you're obsessed to, but without doing anything about it. So for example, if you have to avoid cracks on the sidewalk, begin walking on cracks. Walk on it. If you have to wash your hands every 2 minutes, stop washing your hands. Stop. Force yourself to stop. Do it once every hour. Once every 2 hours. If you have to wash the counters every couple of hours, stop. For 1 day or 2 days, say I won't. Force yourself. Say I won't. I will leave the counters as they are. I will not vacuum the house today, if that's what you obsess over. This is called behavioral therapy. Exposure to what causes the problem while not allowing repetitive behavior to occur. Let something spill on the ground. Let there be a couple of, dots of rice on the ground. It's not a big deal. It will not kill you. You don't have to vacuum it today. Nothing will happen if you don't. Nothing. Expose yourself. Once you do that once, twice, you'll get adjusted. If you could go on for an entire day without having to wash your hands every 2 minutes, the next day will be easier. The day after that will be easier. Imam Ali alayhi salam, this is psychologists are saying this, psychiatrists are saying this today. But Imam Ali said this 1,400 years ago. Imam Ali alayhi salam said, إِذَا خِفْتَ شَيْئًا فَقَعْ فِيهِ. If you fear something, expose yourself to it. Whatever it is that you fear, expose yourself to it. Do it immediately, and the fear will go away. Are you afraid of snakes? Go and hold a snake. Are you afraid of heights? Go stand on a tall building. Are you afraid of spiders? Hold a spider in your hand. I'm serious. This is what Imam Ali says. إِذَا خِفْتَ شَيْئًا فَقَعْ فِيهِ. If you're afraid of public speaking, tomorrow you're going to give the lecture. And I will take a break. Come, speak, and stand in front of people. And do it immediately. Do it immediately, without thinking, without questioning. I remember several years ago, in 2003, my father, Ayatollah Al Qazwini, he had a heart attack. And he was in Iraq. So doctors told him, you have a heart attack, you had a heart attack, and you need a bypass surgery. And here in Iraq, we don't have the means. So it's better that you go back home. So my father, he came back to the United States. He wasn't sure. They hadn't told him you need surgery, but they told him you need better care. He came to the United States. He came to the doctor. This was back in Los Angeles. He came and he saw a doctor. They had all the checkups, and he told him that you need a triple bypass surgery. We need to change 3 of your arteries. He said, when? They told him, we're ready. We could go into surgery at whenever we'd like. Would you like to come tomorrow? The day after tomorrow? He said, no, right now. Right now. Told him, are you sure? He said, right now. I am ready for surgery right now. Take me. And they took him to the surgery, and after a couple of hours, he was out. We later asked him, why didn't you wait a day or 2 days? He said, why should I wait? If I come back at home and I think about it, I'll have anxiety, I'll develop fear of the surgery. I said, why develop anxiety? I'm ready now, let them take me. إِذَا خِفْتَ شَيْئًا فَقَعْ فِيهِ. If you're afraid of something, expose yourself to it immediately, and it'll go away. Once, twice, and it'll go away. You're afraid of heights, you're afraid of planes, go on a plane. Once, twice, 3 times. Force yourself. Whatever it is that you're afraid of, force yourself, and the fear will go away. The obsession will go away. This is a cure. This is a cure that Imam Ali gave us 1,400 years ago. Try it. What is it that you're scared of? Whatever it is that you have fear of, sometimes you're scared of something that, it's not a big deal. Everyone else is scared of. And it won't affect your life. You're scared of snakes. That's not a big deal. because you don't see snakes every day. But sometimes you're scared of, for example, driving. And you have to drive every day to work. You're afraid of the freeway. And you have to take the freeway every day. You have to expose yourself. Otherwise, you will paralyze your life. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Then we have religious solutions to OCD and waswas. We have religious solutions. Islam has made things easy for us. Islam tells us that waswas is not something good. OCD is not something good. Treat it, cure it. And Islam has given us the cure. For example, when it comes to obsessive thoughts, does God exist? Is there a day of judgment? What will happen after death? Is there a heaven? Is there a hell? We said that if you genuinely have questions, then you have to go do your research. But if it's not questions, it's just doubt, it's obsessive doubt, then Islam says you're safe, you're okay. رفع عن أمتي, Rasulullah stated in hadith, رفع عن أمتي 9 things have been lifted upon my nation. One of them, الوسوسة في الخلق ما لم ينطق بشفة. الوسوسة, you will not be held accountable for waswas. If you doubt God's existence, if you doubt God's mercy, if you doubt the day of judgment, just doubts, obsessive doubts, you will not be held accountable. You're not considered a kafir. You will not go to hell. No one will hold you accountable. This is waswas. But you have to overcome. As for rituals, when it comes to rituals, those that consider everything najis, everything in the kitchen, everything on the floor, everything that is wet, everyone who has wet hands that comes and shakes hands with you, Islam has a solution. Islam says, كل شيء لك طاهر حتى تعلم. Everything is pure. By default, everything is pure, everything is tahir. Unless you saw the najasa with your own eyes. If you saw the toilet, it's najis, then you consider it najis. If you did not see with your own eyes, it's tahir. If there was something wet on the floor, it's tahir. Say that it's water. The kitchen, the counters, are they najis? No, they're not najis. You consider them tahir. If a child came and drank from a glass, is that glass najis? No, it's not najis. You consider that tahir. Someone shakes your hands, and his hand was what? Is it najis? No, it's not najis. Everything is tahir. كل شيء لك طاهر حتى تعلم. طيب, this is 1. 2, we have another law that says لا شك لكثير الشك. If you doubt a lot, you don't pay attention to your doubts. If you doubt, is this the first rak'ah or the second rak'ah? We have laws, of course. If this is the first rak'ah or second rak'ah, your salah is void. Is this the second rak'ah or the second rak'ah? You say this is the third, and then you have to do a rak'ah bihtiyat. Is this the third or the fourth? You say this is the fourth, and then you do a rak'ah. You pray a prayer of 1 rak'ah as ihtiyat after. However, but if you repeatedly doubt in every salah you repeatedly doubt, you don't repeat any salah any longer. Khalas. You pray once and that's it. Your wudu, if you repeatedly doubt, is it correct, is it not correct? You don't do it over. Your ghusl, please go easy on your water bills. Just perform ghusl once and that's it. Don't keep on repeating it. Perform your ghusl and get out of the shower and that's it. Don't keep on doubting. Don't keep on obsessing that did I do it correctly? Did I wash my entire hair? No, you don't need to do that. لا شك لكثير الشك. We have another principle that says قاعدة الفراغ. قاعدة الفراغ says that in salah, once you passed a stage and you doubted regarding the former stage, don't pay attention. For example, you're in sujood and you doubt whether your ruku' was correct or not. Or did you say Subhana Rabbi al-Azim wa bihamdih or not? Don't pay attention. You passed. It's called the passing stage. If you passed from one stage to the next and you doubt the correctness of the former stage, don't pay attention. Continue with your salah. Islam has made it so easy for us, but we make it difficult. We make things difficult for us. When it comes to social relations, those who think that everyone's envious of them, jealous of them, they have conspiracy theories that those people are conspiring against me. These people, they hate me. That person didn't say salam, so they have something against me. They have conspiracy theories. There's also a solution. Islam says, husnul dhan. Give the, what do you call it? Benefit of the doubt, thank you. Benefit of the doubt. Give a person the benefit of the doubt. Don't assume. He didn't say salam because he had something against me. No. Say he didn't see me. He didn't talk to me because, there's something going on. No, there's nothing going on. He didn't see you. Or he's having a bad day. Or he has a headache. Or he's fasting. And he's really hungry. There's some hadith that say, احمل أخاك المؤمن على 70 محمل. If you see something negative from a fellow Muslim or a fellow believer, give him 70 excuses. 70 excuses. Don't jump to conclusions. Give him the benefit of the doubt. Give him the benefit of the doubt and give him 70 excuses. You shouldn't immediately assume that he meant bad or she meant bad and they had bad intentions. No. You see? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Islam is an easygoing religion, my dear friends. Islam is an easy religion. It's not a difficult religion. We make it difficult for us. We don't just make it difficult for us, we make it difficult for others. We make it difficult for our children, for our spouses, for our parents. People with OCD, they ruin their lives and they ruin the lives of others. Why? Islam is meant to be an easy religion, an easygoing religion. There's a hadith that say, don't be like Jews who made the religion difficult for them. إن اليهود ضيقوا على أنفسهم فضيق الله عليهم. Don't be like the Jews. When Musa alayhi salam, the story of, in Surah Al-Baqarah, the story of the cow, when there was a murder, they wanted to see who the murderer is. They wanted to see who the murderer is. Musa told them, slaughter a cow, bring the blood, or bring the vein of the cow, put it on the feet of the victim, the person who was murdered. He'll come back alive and he will say, who killed me? They told him, okay, which kind of cow? He didn't tell them which kind. He said, any cow. They said, which kind? Allah told them, okay, this kind. They told him, well, there's several kinds. Which kind? The Quran tells them, a yellow cow. Which kind of yellow cow? They kept on asking questions, and Allah made it harder. If they didn't ask questions, it could have been any cow. They didn't need to make it so hard on themselves. We don't need to make Islam and rituals so hard on ourselves, my dear friends. Islam is meant to be easy. Islam is meant to be beautiful. Islam is meant to make our lives easier, not harder. Know, if you have OCD, know that you're not alone. And there's millions of other people with OCD. Know that there's big scholars. There's maraja with OCD. Yes, but they were able to overcome. There's successful people. There's CEOs and politicians and business owners. There's men and women and youth and kids and so many people with OCD. You're not alone. You're not crazy. You're not insane. All you have to do is seek help, seek the cure, be determined. First of all, acknowledge that you have OCD, and then seek the cure. And lastly, or firstly, I should say, tawakkul ala Allah. Ask Allah to help you. Ask Allah to help you overcome this illness, and He will, insha'Allah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا هما إلا فرجته ولا عيبا إلا سترته ولا خوفا إلا آمنته، ولا رزقا إلا بسطته، ولا شملا إلا جمعته، ولا مرضا إلا شفيته، ولا غائبا إلا حفظته وأدنيته، ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا والآخرة لك فيها رضا ولنا فيها صلاح إلا قضيتها ويسرتها يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إني أسألك أن تجعل فيما تقضي وتقدر من الأمر المحتوم في الأمر الحكيم، من القضاء الذي لا يرد ولا يبدل، أن تكتبنا من حجاج بيتك الحرام المبرور حجهم، المشكور سعيهم، المغفور ذنوبهم، المكفر عنهم سيئاتهم، وأن تجعل فيما تقضي وتقدر أن تطيل عمري في خير وعافية، وتوسع في رزقي، وتجعلني ممن تنتصر به لدينك ولا تستبدل بي غيري. أعوذ بجلال وجهك الكريم أن ينقضي عني شهر رمضان، أو يطلع الفجر من ليلتي هذه ولك قبلي تبعة أو ذنب تعذبني عليه، ولأرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والعلماء والشهداء نقرأ سورة الفاتحة مع الصلوات.